In this section, we are discussing the identifiers used in 5G network. So let's first start with the user equipment identifiers, which are used over different channels, and specifically the ones we discussed before, the transport or logical channels. RNTI stands for Radio Network Temporary Identifier, and the RNTIs are used to differentiate or to identify a connected user equipment in the cell. It can be used to identify a specific radio channel or a group of user equipment in case of paging. It can be used also to differentiate or to identify a group of user equipments for which power control is issued by E0B of the 5G. The RNTI is a 16-bit identifier, and its value is depending on the type of RNTI. And as per 3GPP specifications, there is a list of RNTI defined for the new radio of 5G. Many of RNTIs are already similar to the LTE, but there are some new RNTIs have been introduced to support the new use cases defined for new radio of 5G. We will explain here some examples of those RNTIs and the use cases for them. So the first identifier, user equipment identifier, or the first type of RNTI is the paging RNTI, and from the name it is used by the user equipment for the reception of paging message, and it is carried over the PCH channel and the BCCH logical channel. The second RNTI type we have is the System Information RNTI, or SI RNTI, and this one is used for broadcasting of the system information, and it is a common RNTI, meaning that it is not allocated to any user equipment explicitly, and it is common to all user equipments in the cell, and it's carried over transport channel and logical channel. So the transport channel which is carrying the SI RNTI is DLSCH, and the logical channel carrying it is BCCH. Then we have the random access RNTI, or RARNTI, and this one is used during the random access procedure. So it is used for BRAG response, and it is carried over the transport channel of DLSCH. Then we have the CRNTI, which stands for Cell RNTI, and this one is used for the transmission to specific user equipment after the rush. The user equipment will use the CRNTI while in the communication states. We have then the TCRNTI, which stands for Temporary CRNTI, which is used mainly during the rush also. We have then the MRNTI, which stands for MPMS RNTI. We have also some RNTIs which are used dynamically for scheduling the unicast transmission, like the MCSC RNTI, the MCSC RNTI, CS RNTI, and we have also some other RNTIs which are used for power control, like TPC BUCCH RNTI and TBC SRS RNTI. And so we have the table here as a reference for you, so that you can know the difference between the user identifiers used in 5G. So as we mentioned in last slides, that the RNTI is used to identify or to differentiate the connected user equipment in the cell, or it can be used also for identifying a specific radio channel. So, for example, here in this diagram, we can see that the BRNTI is transferred over the paging channel, the BCCH, which is the logical channel, and then transferred over the transport channel BCH. We can see also that we have the SRNTI, which is used for synchronization, transferred over logical channel BCCH, and then it is transferred over the transport channel DLSCH. So this diagram is listing and summarizing all the RNTIs that are used over the new radio interface for the user equipment identification, and we have either used in uplink direction or downlink direction. And you can notice also that we have some identifiers, some RNTIs are used and transferred over transport channels and over logical channels, and some others are only transferred over the transport channel and it is not transferred over the logical channel. For example, the RANTI, which is transferred over the transport channel DLSCH for downlink direction, but there is no corresponding identifier over the logical channel. And as we mentioned before, many of the RNTIs identifiers are similar to the LTE, okay, but we have added or introduced some new RNTIs just to support the new use cases defined for the new radio of 5G. And here, a list of the references that you can try to visit in case you need to get more information and more details about the different topics that we are discussing throughout the course.